I have described in a previous text how an individual in charge of a restaurant floor treated me with sheer vehemence and vicious, raw resentment. The man clearly wanted me to feel like the worst creature on the planet, because I had ruined his New Year's Eve. All I was doing was answering a call to be their belly dancer for the night. It was then, and still is, my assessment that this man is a narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath. He very clearly delighted in my defeat, my crumbling under the weight of his destructive words. He took obvious pleasure in demeaning me. I am very disturbed by this individual, that so-called manager. I recognize that pattern. I dated a narcissist psychopath a few years ago, more precisely 20 years ago. He regularly took the same virulent pleasure in emotionally torturing me. He never relented until I completely crumbled, sometimes curled up on the floor, whilst he argued with me about one hurtful subject or the other. Then he would carry on, whilst I was crying, because he just had to win. Of course, he was also a sexual sadist. The two often go hand in hand. I dare say I nearly lost my life back then a couple of times. Now that I am safe and have recovered, I take no pleasure in recognizing that pattern. All too well. That man at the restaurant grill was way too eager to crush someone already beneath him by way of financial and social positioning, who is just there to earn a crust. He had to demean me, speak and/or shout over me, whilst I was trying to explain my position. I begged him, many times. He wrote over me, over and over again, even as I described my uncomfortable situation. Having walked all the way, made the effort, in order to fill a spot at the 11th hour, he erupted into a rage when I threw him an order to shut up, so I can speak. That man is simply addicted to power, and he hates being told by a woman, or by a black person, what to do. Yet he doesn't mind shouting repeated attacks on my character, calling me a criminal, for turning up and pretending I could dance, trying to scam people out of money. He called me a thief, a scammer, and the worst dancer on the planet, several times. Yet how dare I tell him to shut his mouth? He took clear satisfaction in bringing me down, even as I was asking him to consider my position. As a contractor, one should never be talked to in that manner. A manager should never be allowed to address staff or contractors in that way. Yet the office staff, upon being told what had happened, decided it was fine. Since I was such a bad belly dancer, they honored his position. They supported his ugly behavior. It is one thing being told a performance isn't good enough. It is another, altogether, to be treated like a cheap whore who did not provide a full satisfactory service. It has now been 7 months, and I am expected to slave over paperwork, so I can claim my already half-price fee in tribunal. This is further degrading, further abusing, further dehumanizing from that business. The whole affair is tantamount to emotional and verbal lynching. Every day is a reiterated statement on my character, as someone who steals, someone who is dishonest, and someone who is absolutely devoid of talent. This is not a matter which I am about to forget. Those people are still punishing me for daring to turn up for a dance job which I was filling in at the last minute. I went out of my way, traveled 4 hours on trains and buses, instead of going straight home. Then I walked through dark woods. I was also in pain, as explained, because of excessive bleeding, only to be treated like human garbage, for bad dancing, only to start the new year with tears, self-doubt, raw pain, empty pockets, and also, memories from that trauma, 20 years ago, evil, wicked, never to be forgotten, ever. Sandrine Antirian.